All right. We off and running.
We're off and running. You got the blue lighting going on.
I can change that. Would you have another color in mind, Hope?
No, that's good. That's good. I have a little orange. In my background, so it's good. A little orange.
You have a very dark background. Plus, you have a wire violation. I'm just saying you do.
You talking about my speakers? My Sonos?
Yeah.
Well, it's just my Sonos. I could bring it down, but the plug's down there, so it's just
What is the Sonos? I don't understand. What is
the Sonos? That's my speakers. Like I have a Sonos in here, and I have a Sonos in my room.
So you say like, "Hey Sonos, turn off the light" or whatever.
Well, I don't know if it does all that. It's just easy to play music through, and I can play music here and play something completely different in my room at the same time, or something in.
Do you play good music or do you play crappy music?
Probably subjective.
Okay. Metallica?
No, that's a little. I'm not really a Metallica person.
Thumbs down. Sad.
All right. So Cole's traveling back from Texas. So he's not with us today. A lot of people know his dad's dealing with some health stuff, and so Cole's kind of bouncing around here and there, and so he's on his way back from Texas. That's what he's doing today. So you got Jay and I. Sorry.
It's great to be on the show today. Hokanson coming to you live from Hampstead, Alabama, just outside of Montgomery, off the Troy Highway. And it's just great to be here and hanging out with you, Hoke.
Nice. I think my arm is officially broken.
Hey, man.
I can't get it to stay anymore.
It doesn't have a little tensioner at the bottom there?
It has a tensioner up here that I had it at about like 45 forever, and now all of a sudden it's not tightening anymore, so it's just sort of staying straight. So now it's like
tariffs.
So we're
also Rebecca's calling you on that sign, Hoke. We were gonna pretend like nobody would notice it, but guess what?
Really, like right off the bat, man. I joked. I said I gotta change that. I know. I got different letters. We'll one last hurrah for the old sign.
Yeah. 14 shows in. Yeah. Long tradition.
It's been there. All the football, the basketball shows. It's been there for a few years.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah. All right. We're going to talk about, what are we going to talk about today? We'll talk about Jay's column, a little NIL stuff. We'll briefly mention some of the stuff that's come down in the last hour about collectives and what the College Sports Commission has said. I just posted something on the board about that. We'll talk about some Hugh Freeze hot seat chatter. I think it was CBS kind of put out hot seat. I know, shocking. They kind of like created some rating on how hot the seat is for different coaches. So we'll kind of maybe bring that up and see. There's levels to hot seat, I would say. So we can talk about that, and then we'll take as many questions as we can. We'll hit those as many, whether it's from the board, the bunker, the corner, or anybody that pops in on YouTube and asks questions. We'll take as many of those as possible.
Before we get started, I want to tell a story about a prop I have here. This is a Grand National, not placard. It's an emblem. I got to try my dream car back in the 90s and 80s. It was a Buick Grand National. Hoke, you probably don't know anything about it, but it had a turbocharged V6 in it, and this thing was so fast. Kind of looked like a Monte Carlo, but it was a Buick Grand National. Anyway, my sister totaled it. Damn you. She's dead, so I can't even make fun of her anymore for it. But before they towed it away, I snatched this bad boy right off the side of that car.
That's awesome.
And I still have it with me, man. I will never drive a Grand National again, but I'm glad to have this. So
that's pretty awesome. Yeah, I don't know much about the car, but I know what it looks like. I mean,
it's like Darth Vader on wheels.
Yeah, very, very
I didn't lose many races in it either. It's very fast.
That's awesome. That's a pretty cool
little anecdote.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay. Well, anyway, I got another Day on the Beat column up today on the front of auburnsports.com. That is correct to say that now, Hoke.
Yep.
I was still tempted in my head to say Auburn Live. Anyway, and it is about Kenny Dillingham, the esteemed coach at Arizona State, formerly of Auburn, a former Auburn assistant under Gus. A lot of people believe he may be an Auburn coach in the future someday. Was essentially coming out and saying some of the things, or many of the things, that Hugh and Cohen have been saying about how to play this NIL game is on the money. And, we've had I think folks in the chat have certainly had some questions about what in the world they've been doing. Auburn seem to be playing this very conservatively. We've talked about this. Hokie wrote a story about it, and you talked about it on the show. But Dillingham came out even stronger yesterday, and he said basically, we have no idea how to interpret these rules. I'm not going to lie to kids. And he also said he thinks recruiting is dead and it's all about retention. Now, I don't know that Hugh Freeze would go that far, but I do believe that he absolutely thinks retention is the holy grail at this point. He put a lot of money and effort into retention. He did a great job with retention. I mean, the only player in his two deep or even meaningful player at all who left was Braden Joyner, and he got an amazing deal from Purdue that was just stupid to not take it. So God bless that kid, and everybody loves him here, and they'll love him there too. But I feel like Hugh and Kenny Dillingham are in lockstep in a lot of ways, and I will be very interested to see what Hugh has to say maybe at that ambush event right before Media Days or at Media Days proper about specifically what he thinks about recruiting going forward. I think saying that recruiting is dead is stupid because they can't live on the players they have forever. Keldrick Falk ain't going to play here forever.
Well, how do they got to get there somehow.
You got to add somebody. But I guess he was, exaggerating to make a point. We would call that puffery in the legal world. And I don't know. I felt like he was standing behind, not directly, but indirectly, a lot of the things that Hugh and Cohen were saying that I thought when I heard them initially, when you guys reported that stuff from the lake the other day, I thought this is a little bit crazy. You're going to wait until August 1st when Georgia has 28 commitments or whatever to start. But now I kind of see where they're coming from a little bit, and they have some support out there.
Yeah. You had his quotes. What else did you have? You had, I guess that came from Dellinger. You had Pete Nakos write a story quoting some people, right? And
the Cincinnati coach, for what it's worth, he feels the same way. So
yeah, saying there's some fake offers going out, and I reposted it on Twitter. I'm like, it's exactly what I've been telling our subs for a week, and this is what I've been relaying. This was what Auburn was seeing, and it was a lot of their cautions. Exactly what they thought was happening was there were some schools kind of getting out over their skis and what they were offering, and they just simply wanted to wait a little bit. Again, I think I'm with you. I think what it does is quotes like that give more credibility to Auburn's approach. Doesn't mean Auburn's gonna, we still don't know where Auburn's gonna land with this recruiting class, but until now, it's just been Cohen and Freeze made their quotes, and then everybody was like, "This sounds dumb," and then I tried, to get on the board after that. Like I went and had another conversation with sources, like really in-depth conversation. Like I sat down with over an hour with somebody that walked me through not just Auburn's approach, but kind of the basics of what's going on, and it made a lot more sense of what's going on. Their approach made a lot more sense to me. Don't know if it's right, but I could see the logic. And quotes like that just kind of, they add some credibility to why I think Auburn's approaching it the way they are. And then we'll kind of see how it goes. But yeah, I thought your column was fair. Like, look, you didn't take a stance. You weren't like, this proves them right. No, the only thing that's going to prove them right is the final ranking in their recruiting. Like, the only thing that's going to prove them right is if we look up in December and their class is 12th in the country. But until then, we can say right now, I think, that there's some reasoning and there's some credibility to what they're doing. And then past that, we'll just see how it works out.
Yeah, Jeff said something interesting in the chat. Says the approach is still stupid. 15 teams aren't going to be punished. And it's almost like I dare you to punish somebody. Like, right? Who's going to punish them? Is the commission going to punish them? And then you've got the collective situation, Hoke, that you know a little bit more than I do about. And I know the collective's pushed back and said, bring it, essentially. So, dude, as soon as they reject a deal, as soon as NIL Go rejects somebody, and I read the story yesterday, I think it was Ross, could have been Pete Nakos, about that the clearinghouse is already working through some deals and has rejected some deals, but you can still make one appeal, essentially, and nobody has been rejected of their appeal yet. So we haven't even gotten to the point where somebody's had a deal fully rejected. But when that happens, who's going to tell them no? It seems counter to what the courts want to do.
Yeah. And let's see. I don't even know. So I said the other day, and I didn't read those stories. I don't know. I mean, as of a week ago, they did not even know how many times they could submit a deal. They didn't even know as of a week ago, is there even a limit? Like, can we just submit, deny, submit, deny, submit, deny? And on the seventh try, we get it approved? Or is it like a passcode? Like after 3 times, you're denied, you can't get in anymore. Like they didn't even know that. And so there's a lot of things working out. I don't know. The collective thing's interesting because so you're kind of saying the collectives may go, hey, we hear what you're saying. Too bad. We're going to keep doing it. But see, I talked to some people. I mean, I've talked to some people in the last week, and I posted on the board today. I mentioned on our show Tuesday. I know that Cohen has directed On to Victory over a month ago to basically stand by and stand down. Don't do anything right now.
That's a political phrase right there, buddy.
As soon as I said it, I was like, oh shit. Yeah, stand down and stand by. Basically, he told him that. So I know that Cohen and Auburn have anticipated potentially what you have today happening with the collective. The On to Victory has basically not been active the last whatever. And I've spoken to people at On to Victory in the last week that kind of thought this was coming and have acknowledged that they may now have to pivot to offering general services to the public, which is what the CSC is saying today is you cannot exist to simply serve student athletes. You have to now offer something to the public. If you do, then you're good. I texted somebody before I came on the show about that. I said, so you just gotta pivot and offer something to the public, right? And he goes, yes, that's right. So I don't know if collectives are going to push back. It seems like maybe Auburn and On to Victory might be thinking they'll just abide by this. So I you know what I mean? So I didn't get the sense that they were like, yeah, that's not going to hold up. Screw that. I got the sense that they were like, we kind of figured this is coming. We'll just pivot and we'll add this little general public part to what we do. And then we'll keep rolling.
Yeah. It's weird that it's such an important thing and it's all so gray. You don't know. I feel like I think like the commission is trying to get their hands around this, but it's just such a big deal. It's just so hard. It's like trying to get your hands around a tornado. You grab it and it's moved on already. So it's a thorny issue. And I think they would argue privately that this was brought to them by the courts. And so don't get mad at me for not being able to understand this. This is the court system throwing a big pile of crap in my lap and telling me to fix it. And they're doing the best they can. But I do think the NCAA is a joke. And Ron Polk, the baseball coach, was so far ahead of his time. He used to bitch about the NCAA in the 80s and 90s and said they were an outlaw organization. And now I think we all just consider that regular information. And it seemed outdated at the time. Seemed crazy.
Well, now we got to pivot. Now you got to get mad at the CSC.
Yes, absolutely. The commission
that's the enforcement arm. That's the group and that's part of why Auburn's been cautious because I mean, some of the chatter around punishments sounds bad. I mean, they're talking about the last thing you would want is to get super aggressive right off the bat when everything's really unclear and just right out of the gate do something wrong, screw it up. And what if they actually follow through with enforcement and hit you with a penalty next year on your rev share and take $2 million away? What if they suspend your coach for a game or two? Like that's the kind of stuff they're talking about doing. Will they do it? How's the enforcement going to work? We don't know yet, but I do get like, do we really want to like right out of the gate, just go gung ho and push the limits and potentially get ourselves in trouble right off the bat?
That's what Cohen's trying to avoid. And I don't know that Auburn's going to get slapped here. I think Auburn's playing it so conservatively that I don't think they'd even be in position to get busted. And maybe they're banking on Georgia getting hit. I'm not speaking about them specifically,
yeah.
These folks that have a lot of commitments out there, verbal commitments to kids, are they going to be in line for punishment? And Kirby was the one at spring meetings trying to plead innocence and trying to push it on somebody else. All these people are doing unscrupulous things out there. And it's like, hey man, you're the one that's got 27, 28 commits. I'm not accusing Georgia of anything specifically again, but it's interesting. Every accusation to me is an admission. It's just my feeling about it.
Yeah, there's probably truth to that.
That's no hating on Kirby, dude. He's done a great job and they win a lot. And I understand why if you're just some random kid from South Georgia, you're probably thinking pretty seriously about playing for the G. I get it. It's a great program. Auburn needs to play better. Auburn needs to show these kids that this is a place where you can go and win a lot of games.
Yeah.
We're not there right now, and it's a shame. One man's opinion.
Well, I mean, it just to sort of understand. So like this is coming out today. We're July, Auburn's 73rd in recruiting ranking. And so like this stuff comes out. And then Auburn this afternoon is going to dive in, like everything you've heard in the last couple hours about what the CSC is saying about collectives. Auburn's going to dive into that this afternoon. Like that's how real time this is happening. It's like, here's this new clarification from the College Sports Commission. And now this afternoon, Auburn will dive into that and figure out. And you're trying to recruit right now. You're literally trying to put together offers and figure out what we can do, what we can't do. You have a collective over here that's existed, that's sitting over here going, let us know what we can do now where we've been put on pause. And the university's over here trying to figure out what this clarification means. And you're trying to land a class right now. It is busy, hectic. I mean, it's a lot going on.
When you talk about a collective, you mean OTV, right?
OTV, yeah, on to victory.
Okay. And then what would you consider E2C? How do you classify them? I mean, I don't know.
I would consider. I don't know either. I mean, I just sort of always refer to On to Victory as the front-facing collective, and I sort of just refer to the other guys as the not front, the behind the scenes, facing group.
I hang out with them more.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't ever toss their name around, but in the past couple of weeks, when I've talked on the board and I've talked on the show, when I've said, quote, the behind the scenes recruiting apparatus, I'm talking about ever to conquer.
Yeah.
And I just call them that's just sort of what I refer to them as. And everybody does it. We're not so naive that we don't talk about it, but yeah. So OTV, I just sort of the front facing. Yeah.
Auburn has some very shrewd people involved with E2C. I'm just going to leave it at that. I mean, some very bright people who have made a lot of money in their life, who have been very successful in their careers. Auburn does not lack for intelligent people behind the scenes at all. And you've made this point too, Hoke. Auburn does not lack for money. I feel like some people on the bunker, and I haven't read the corner as much about this specific issue, but I think some people on the bunker have equated Auburn's difficulties in recruiting with a lack of funding. And I don't think that's really an overall problem. I know you've talked a little bit about some specific situations or maybe some funding was withheld, but in a general sense, Auburn's got a lot of money. It really comes down to the way Auburn's executing or the way it interpreted what the commission wants everybody to do.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. I guess the day after the Cohen stuff last week, I made a post and I said that specifically. I said, this is not a situation where I think Auburn is lacking for money either from the NIL side. They're going to allot as much from a rev share standpoint as anybody else. So they're not going to shortchange themselves there. And they're not lacking for money in general. And I don't like the narrative. I've seen some people on social media tossing around the narrative of everybody behind the scenes is just withholding money until Auburn wins. That's not really the case. There's some nuance there, but people are just guessing. There's some people that don't believe what Freeze and Cohen are saying. They think it's like some kind of front, like really Auburn's short on money. And I'm like, well, okay. Like, I guess you guys can stay on the outside and just guess away without having any conversations with anybody. But that's not really happening. It's not a short on money in terms of collective and potential NIL. I don't believe that. The only thing I would say on money is, has there been a case in the last few months of the ever to conquer, the behind the scenes apparatus, those guys? Has there been a little bit of an issue with withholding money or short on money? Yes, but it's not because they don't necessarily have it. There's just been some, I've sort of described it, there's just been some disorganization with that group over the last 6 months, and it has caused them to miss out on some opportunities to keep some kids committed and to get some kids committed. But I'm told, as I've said a bunch of times, I'm told that by August and stuff that they'll be kind of ready to go and be more organized and stuff. So I don't think it's a lack of money. There's just a lot of nuance that I'm not going to get into, but the general thing of like they don't have money or everybody behind the scenes is just holding their pocket. You go get me, go start 4-1, and then that's not really the case either. They don't love how the last 2 years have gone, but there are also a lot of people that still love Auburn and are willing to fork out the money right now. Now you go start 2-4. And you get into October and you lost to Baylor, OU, Texas A&M, and Georgia, then that's a different story. Now, if you're trying
into existence, please.
Like if you're in the middle of October and you're 2-4, and then you're going, all right, guys, I know we're 2-4, and you go to your boosters and go, but hey, we got to get. Then I could see somebody going, yeah, I don't know now, man. I don't know. Like we're 2-4, and I don't know where you stand, Hugh, and you're on the hot seat, and maybe that's a different story then. But I don't sense like that kind of situation in some kind of widespread thing happening right now.
A good question here on the screen from Alan B. Last name redacted. I'm just kidding. It's posted right there. It says, what's more likely? All these teams are doing things wrong and Auburn's doing things the right way, or Auburn is just not recruiting well? That's an interesting way to put it, Alan. I'm not sure it's quite that binary. If I had to guess at the two you gave me, I think it's the first. I think some teams are interpreting things intentionally wrongly, is my view. And so therefore Auburn is doing things the right way at the behest of an AD who has a background in law and a head coach who doesn't want to lie to anybody. It could be the perfect storm for just kind of a very conservative, and I don't mean that politically, just a very restricted way of looking at things. But I don't think Auburn's recruiting poorly. I mean, there's no way. Like after all this time to have the resources and the successes they've had, they've opened a lot of doors in the last 2 years, 3 years, getting Auburn back in at Thompson's a good example, and other schools over there toward Atlanta. And they're going to be able to pull. They have relationships. I know the class doesn't look very good right now, but I think we know why. Yeah. I don't want to say they're doing things wrong, though. That's kind of lame. I don't want to say that. Like Texas Tech is such a great example, Hoke. How the hell are they pulling that off? I mean, they got a billionaire that's just throwing money left and right, but it takes more than cash. It takes a willingness to push the boundary.
Yeah. They're definitely being very, very aggressive in NIL offers, and that's for sure. There's no shortage of multi-year deals and some serious money being thrown around. Yeah, I wouldn't say they're doing it wrong. Again, the answer to that question will come. That's the great thing. The answer to the question of is Auburn doing it wrong or right will come. We'll find out pretty soon. We'll find out in the coming months if Auburn makes a move or if Auburn put themselves in such a hole. If they pivot and start doing things the way everybody else did it because it looks like that's a way that you could do it and whatever, they were being too cautious. We'll figure out and we'll find out if their approach right now put them in too big of a hole or if it was the exact pace they should have gone. Again, I just go back to, I think there's some reasoning to what they're doing. There's the only real risk is it's just July. The only real risk is that anybody that you, let's say, lowballed an offer to, or anybody that you had committed that left and went and committed somewhere else, or a kid that you were right there in it with that committed somewhere else. The only risk is you come back to them in a month or a month and a half and you go, all right, we're going to give you what you wanted. And he goes, yeah, too little, too late. Like I already have this relationship with this other school. I sort of put you out of my mind. And so I don't think I'm going to jump back with you. That could happen. That certainly could happen. But they think at the end of the day, kids want to know how much are you paying me and when am I getting it? They think that trumps everything else. Yeah, relationships matter and development to the NFL, which Auburn can't really push that yet. It's not like a laundry list of guys in the past few years that they can talk about, but they just think they can come back in September and go, here's how much and here's when you're getting it. And if that works for you, they think kids will jump back to them or whatever. And so they just think the majority of kids will do that, even if they lost Shadarius Tootle or Vodney Cleveland. They think if they can present the right offer that those type of players will come back in the fold or they can still land a good class. Like that's kind of the gist of how they look at it right now.
I got some other questions in the chat here. I like this one from Jacob P. Last name redacted. Starting wideout group at Baylor. You thinking Cam Singleton and Malcolm Simmons, or maybe Horatio Field's going to slide in there, the young man from Wake Forest? I think that's probably a matchup situation there, right? I mean, Horatio and Malcolm are two very different kinds of players, but you can play them both in the slot if you wanted to. I think of Horatio more as a split end, but he could play slot.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I mean, Cam and Eric, and then a lot of it probably depends on what you're trying to accomplish there. I'm kind of excited to see when's the last time you thought Auburn could toss 4 wideouts out there and you'd feel like
pretty good about it, right?
Kind of good options across the board. Like what I don't. I mean, I'd have to think about when's the last time that you could go 4 wideout set and think even the number 4 option is a pretty good option. Which
I could go 5 here. For me, Perry would be a good 5th.
Yeah,
I know he's kind of untested, but I still think a whole lot of him. So yeah, this is. I mean, that's not breaking news to say they got a great wideout room, and they did a great job keeping these guys here. People wanted Cam Coleman. People wanted Perry Thompson. People wanted all these guys. Malcolm was a fight.
Yeah,
that was a struggle. Seriously, he's a damn good player. So, and he's coachable too. I mean, that's another part of this equation. So yeah,
those two guys are on a national level. Even like people maybe that just even cover the SEC. Malcolm and Horatio are being overlooked, and that's fine. Cam and Eric have a lot of ability there, but Horatio Fields and Malcolm Simmons have got a lot of potential as well. Like Malcolm Simmons has got a lot of ability, and Horatio too. Like those are two good receivers. Like if you took Cam Coleman and Eric Singleton out, and your starting receiver, like and Malcolm was there, he'd be getting a lot of pub. I think so. Anyway, yeah, I don't know when the last time Auburn had 4 guys that I felt like the 4. And yeah, you're right, Perry. We've talked about it in the past about Perry, and my only thing about Perry is, how many times is Auburn going 5 wide out? Probably not very often. And I just don't see how many snaps does Perry get in and is an option over Cam or Singleton or Malcolm. I kind of just, not that Perry is not getting better. I don't see the room for him to come in. And I mean, he might make a couple catches here and there, but like in big games, unless he just takes off and Horatio isn't quite what we think he is or something. I just think it could be tough for Perry to even get in there and have the kind of production he wants to have. That's just going to be an interesting one to follow, because maybe no fault of his own, but how many snaps does he get? What's his production? And then I think you could very well have a situation of trying to fight to keep him, and it's really nobody's fault. I mean, yeah. I just,
Who's the best tight end? Who's the best receiving tight end they got?
I think Frazier's not bad. You ever throw it to him, but I think he's not bad. I mean, he's a huge target. Like
I like him. Good country boy. That's what you'd like to see. Matt B, last name redacted, says, do y'all think Auburn has its next All-American anywhere on this roster? Hoke. I mean, Keldrick Falk's a possibility there. Maybe as a dark horse, maybe Xavier Chaplin could be somebody that could get into that kind of conversation. He's saying anywhere. He's not necessarily saying this year.
Yeah, just somewhere on the roster.
I feel very strongly about New Boy Fagans. I think he's got that kind of ability. Connor Liu may have that kind of ability.
Yeah. Yeah, I think those are. I think Falk
Coleman's crazy good, but
yeah, gosh.
Do I trust somebody to get him the ball enough to be an All-American? That's my question.
Yeah, that's being a receiver's. Coleman's got the ability. Singleton's got the ability. Falk's got the ability. Connor Liu's got the ability. Those are the 4 I would go to that have got real ability to be one of the best at their position in all of college football for sure. And then if you went really young, yeah, you could in the future maybe Fagans, or how good could Caleb Harris be? I love his instincts. That guy seems like he's got a super bright future. But past that, I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, you just start being super optimistic about guys and guessing, but I don't know.
Yeah.
DeMarcus Riddick, I mean, he's athletic, but he's a long way from me going like he's really close to being an All-American.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I need to see him correctly diagnose over and over and over again run plays in the A and B gaps before I start getting too excited about him. He's incredibly fast. Like you said, he's a freak athlete, but I'd like to see him be a better football player. Number 0 that played linebacker at Auburn 2 or 3 years ago, same deal.
Papo.
Owen Papo, yeah. He never did diagnose run plays correctly, and that's why he doesn't play a lot in the NFL. Whereas Jamian Sherwood, who I overlooked, honestly, I thought he was going to be a role player in the NFL. He's now a multimillionaire because he can correctly diagnose shit, and he's really good at it.
Dude, Sherwood would have been like an absolute superstar linebacker under Tommy Tuberville. He would have been, they'd have moved him down to linebacker, and, because he'd have been under, weight wise, he would have been, because he's more of a safety. He would have been moved down under Tuberville, played outside linebacker, and been ridiculous.
He would have been what Antarius Williams was to T-Will. If you remember, number 31 with the club. Exactly. He was Jamian Sherwood. Not as good. Jamian Sherwood's a better player, but the same kind of player. I overlooked him, man. I like Jamie when he was here, obviously. I mean, I used to joke around with him a lot, but I didn't realize just how good he was going to be as a pro. P. Lee, same thing. I know we're going a few years back, but I will have to take some hits on those guys. I didn't think they would play as long as they did. Rudy Ford's still playing.
Yeah, that's one. Yeah, I don't know that I ever gave it serious thought, but he was such a good athlete. He was so fast. He was such a good athlete that's probably not super. Jonathan Jones, great athlete, great speed. Like if you got the athleticism and the speed, man, you can last as long as you know the game. I mean, when it comes down to it, if you can run, if you can run and you can maintain, have some longevity there, you're going to hang around. Be smart.
Let me tell you a story about Jonathan Jones. This is before you got on the beat, Hoke. I don't know when he was playing at Auburn, maybe 08, something like that. It could have been 06. I don't know. Anyway, so he comes up to us one day. We're out there. This is back when we used to do 2-a-days on the intramural fields. And he comes up to me and Jay Lee and a few other guys. He goes, "Hey, man, if you guys don't mind, can you start calling me Jay, like in your stories, J-A-E? I want to be known as Jay Jones." And we're like, yeah, me and Jeffrey are like, "Hey, big dog, if that's what you want to do, we'll do it." So we come out the next couple of days, we write Jay, and people were taking it fine. He comes up to us 2 days later and goes, "Hey, guys, I know I asked you to change my name, but can you change it back? I need to go by Jonathan." And I said, "Why?" And Jay Lee cut him off and goes, "His mama got after his ass, didn't she?" And that's exactly what had happened, man. His mom had found out that he'd asked people to refer to him as Jay, and she got absolutely after him, called him and bitched at him, and he was like, "Never again." And so even today in the NFL, everybody knows him as Jonathan. I love that. He's so fast, too. One of my favorite beat moments there. That was great. Let's see. James M says, "Do you all see us adding another linebacker due to DJ Barber being dismissed?" I might be too late in the cycle now. And honestly, Jacoby Matthews might be a marauder if they really needed another outside linebacker. He's maybe not be quite as bulky enough, but he's mean enough and he can hit hard enough. But remember now, DJ for me was probably going to be 3rd, maybe 4th, Mike backer. So this is not going to affect the depth chart too much. And then like the next day they picked up a commit from Balagoon Ali. So who's a similar kind of player. I don't know. I don't think they're going to miss DJ too much. I think DJ needs to worry about DJ.
Yeah. I mean, that wasn't, he hadn't broken through to expect anything. I was trying to see you're right. I mean, like if that becomes an issue, then Auburn's got issues, period. I mean, if it becomes an issue of who takes his spot and Auburn gets down to needing that position to contribute, then Auburn's probably in trouble in general because he was not, going to be a massive contributor or anything.
Also, shout out to the Tallapoosa County Sheriff's Office for a great, and you talked about this, nice spread. The picture that they showed. They even flared out the flushed out the money too.
I mean, it was just kind of funny. I was like, well, they took some time with that.
Sure did. I was like, wow. Hayden, my guy right there, legend himself, says, "What would happen to Hugh after a 7-5 season?" Hoke, I don't know about you, but anything less than 8, I think he gets fired. So I think he goes to the golf course permanently after that for 7-5.
Yeah, so CBS Sports put out a hot seat thing. He's on there, obviously. But then they sort of added some like a rating, like how hot is the hot seat. And it was it wasn't like it wasn't like you win now or you're fighting. It was like you got to start to improve kind of thing. Like, and so it's a little subjective. And so that's what we get a lot is where does Auburn need to land? And I've said it a million times, 7-5 is not a step forward. That is a status quo, just based on that amount of losses. And we talked about it on the show. I said, what scenario would 7-5? Is there any scenario? And Cole brought up a point that made me think a little bit, which is if Auburn started 2-4 and Jackson Arnold was part of the problem. Like he just was like, not whatever. And you go, let's just go Deuce. And you go to Deuce and somehow you go 5-1 down the stretch. Like you upset Alabama and you go 5-1 or whatever. You close the season 5-1, 4-2, and Deuce is your quarterback. Is there any part of that scenario where you'd look at the record and go, you went 7-5, but there's optimism and you turn out similar to what Florida did with Lagway? Is there any part of that? Or could you go, but you messed up the portal quarterback thing again? Ugh. And yes, you closed with Deuce, but like we wasted another season of going 6-6 or 7-5. Does Deuce simply playing well at the end of that? Like if you went on a run, would that be enough to make people overlook the fact that you screwed up the portal again with the quarterback situation and you had such a bad start and you kind of tossed another season? Yeah, there'd be some optimism, but 3 seasons down and you really haven't accomplished anything yet.
I mean, it makes sense in theory, and not to belittle anything that Cole says because he knows a lot about football, but for me, that's still a fire situation, and you can still keep DJ, right? So what you move DJ Durkin to head coach and acknowledge all the things that are going well at that point. Say, hey, man, we found our guy in Deuce. We're finishing strong. We beat Alabama. I think then maybe Hugh just goes on anyway, and you just stay with DJ. And I think most people would stay here because you'd keep everything else in line. But for me, missing the quarterback out of the portal again, you got to go. He's supposed to be the quarterback whisperer, man. Come on. Like, this is when Gene's defense started sucking when he was head coach. And I'm like, you're the defensive guy. What are you doing? Like,
yeah.
And that when Justin's offense started sucking, and I'm like, you're an offense guy. Fix it.
Yeah. That's what you do. Like, what do you do here? That's it.
That's right.
The quarterback thing would be bad. Yeah, it would be. And I don't anticipate that. I don't think Jackson's going to be the pro. I think he's got some ability, and yeah, I don't think. I don't expect him to like tank or anything. But yeah, again, it's tough to me to see 7-5. Here's the other question: is there any scenario? How bad would it have to be to make a change midseason? Is there any scenario where something happens and you go, all right, we got to get out now? We get time to change right now.
Yeah, I mean, they could just get absolutely drubbed by like A&M, or if you're 2-4 and you get drubbed by A&M, he's got to go.
And you're 0-3 in the SEC, OU, A&M, Georgia.
Yep.
Yeah, 2-4.
Out.
That'd be a scenario. And I've talked to people behind the scenes that money people that think that would agree with you. That they have said, like, if this thing's 2-3, certainly 2-4, probably 2-4, 2-3, those would all be road games. 2-4 means now you lost at home. Would probably have to get to 2-4. That have said, like, if it goes to 2-4, they could see a world where Cohen goes and makes a change right there midseason. They could see that world happening, and a lot of their sort of approach is, I think, what a lot of our approach is, and my thoughts mirror their approach because I think it makes sense. They're basically like, either get to 9 wins, 8 wins, get to 8 or a better. Certainly 9 would be awesome, or just suck. 6-6 cannot happen again. 7-5 cannot happen again. This cannot be year 3 of middle of the road. Like maybe not. Like there were some good moments, there were some bad moments. We didn't really. It cannot be another year of where he can make excuses and go, well, we were close, and like either get over the hump, or it needs to be clear that you're not getting over the hump. It cannot be another middle ground season. Like that just would be kind of worst case.
No, because at that point you're trying to convince yourself that the ugly girl's hot. I mean, I'm just telling you that's what it would be like. I mean, you're trying to tell yourself that Hughes hot, and he's not. And I think even the people that really like you, I think have some questions about his motivation. Like, honestly, not that he's lazy or anything like that. It's just like, how much is his heart really into this? He's facing a lot of things here. I mean, this cancer thing ain't a joke, man.
Yeah.
And he's got more than that going on. So I don't know, man. I don't know. That's a tough situation. I don't want to think about it. or do I? I don't know. The bunker's a lot of fun when things fall apart. And golly, Auburn fans have had a lot of chances to see things falling apart lately.
Oh boy, it's honestly, I'm glad you're on board, because if it all hits the fan, it'll be nice to have somebody to go through it with.
I've got a lot of experience with that. Should I shut up on this beat in 98, bro?
It's the worst, man.
98. It's hard to say it could ever get worse than 98. I mean, it would really take something special.
But nowadays you talk in social and it's just,
yeah, you're right.
Smash your head against the wall. And
I don't know if 98 would have worked in the social media sphere. I think it actually would have just changed how it unfolded. Anyway, Kyle S says, of these 4 teams, what are the 2 wins that would do more for this season and getting the fans juiced up? Baylor, Oklahoma, Georgia, and Alabama. If you end up with an 8-4 season, what are the 2 wins that would do more for this season, getting the fans juiced? Well, you want to think Georgia and Alabama, right? Because everybody's so starved to beat them. But if you don't beat Baylor, then you're 0-1, and people are already starting to freak out.
Yeah,
so maybe I'd say Oklahoma. Maybe I'd say Baylor and Georgia in that case. But I have a bias, dude. I don't like Georgia. I have a dislike for Alabama, but I really hate Georgia, and I hate getting barked at. And for me, Georgia's the team that Auburn's. If I had to take one, it'll be Georgia. That's just me. So Baylor and Georgia for me. What do you think?
Georgia's been even more lopsided than Bama over the last 15 years. I mean, that's not even a rivalry right now.
You're not going to bark at me, are you?
No, that's a tough one. I go back and forth with Baylor and OU, because I hear some people say if Auburn loses to Baylor right out of the gate, just the pressure will just skyrocket right off the bat. I can see that, because it's just the first one, but I sort of go back and forth between that one and OU. OU's an SEC game. OU's just as desperate as you are. They have a coach that's sort of in a similar position.
For sure.
And it's a conference game. Like, I don't know. I sort of think the OU game is bigger. If you lost to Baylor and beat OU, I mean, you're 1-0 in the league. You beat Baylor and lose to OU, SEC is where you better be competing. I don't know. I sort of lean like the OU game is a bigger game, but Bama, Georgia, I don't know. Take your pick. I mean, Auburn's lost what they're potentially going to lose 6 in a row to Bama if they don't win. The Georgia rivalry's been lopsided. Both of those are big. Beat one of them. My gosh. I mean, I don't know. You could maybe go Georgia because where it is in the season or something like that, but either one would be big.
We need the Night King from Game of Thrones to go pay Georgia a visit. I'm telling you, they need something. God bless. Got to get that rivalry turned around a little bit. Kane says, J.J. Falk going to stay linebacker or slide down to edge? I can't offer any useful insight on that one yet.
Yeah, I don't know. That'd be maybe a good Cole question. How big is he? What is Caleb? You're J.J. Falk, 6'3", 240.
He's long arms.
Maybe we'll know a little bit this fall. Maybe we'll see kind of what his fall looks like and see what they have in store for him.
Yeah, I like JJ, though. He gets overlooked because he was committed so long, but he's a really good player. And I think he's got that same attitude that his brother has. By the way, his mom, good people, man. She raised some good-ass sons. Just want to say that.
Yeah, they're good. They're good dudes. Keldrick's a really good dude.
Hayden, my guy, says, who is Horatios' former Auburn wideout comp? Great question. So we're talking about a thin, long dude, good at acrobatic catches, but not necessarily his reputation anyway. Previously was that he would drop easy balls, but then make great catches. So that sounds to me like Seth or Sammy. I don't know that he's quite the athlete. He's so tall and long. He looks like a spider to me.
Yeah, Seth could be similar. Obviously, Seth had just such a knack to make he made some crazy catches. But probably similar builds. I mean, 6'2", 200. Sammy was a beast. I mean, Sammy was 215, and like that was a little bit, and had a really elite speed. I haven't seen Horatio open it up.
Yeah. I don't think of him as a super fast guy. No.
Yeah, probably Seth-ish. I mean, I think that'll sort of could be a little bit of his role this year. I think Horatio could get opportunities, 1-on-1, red zone, like 3rd and 7. Can we get him across the middle? Like, I think he could be a guy that you just get in his vicinity the way you kind of could Seth sometimes. Just get it in the vicinity and try to. Bo probably did that a little too much. It's just like throw to Seth. But yeah, Seth might be a decent comparison size wise and what Horatio could contribute. But Seth was special. I mean, he did a lot of great things. He was a little. Attitude wasn't always great, but he was super talented.
Yeah, attitude wasn't always great. That's nice. That's a nice way to put it. Going way back, Marcel Willis, who played at Auburn back early Tuberville years, reminds me of him as well. Underrated, good player. I think Horatio is going to end up not getting a ton of opportunities because he's just got great players that he's playing alongside. Singleton's a badass and Cam's a badass too. Rebecca W., last name redacted, says, does everyone think Cam will make the first touchdown of the season, or could it be someone else? That's just so.
That'd be a great prop bet.
Oh yeah, would be, wouldn't it? I think it's going to be
Darrell
Robinson.
Baylor, though. Who knows?
I think Darrell Robinson.
Oh, that would be.
That's my first touchdown of the season. I think he's going to be your physical battering ram back. That's kind of that's an unusual take. I don't think everybody's on board with that, but I think he's going to be awesome. I'm telling you, Jaira Edwards got me thinking about this. I'm telling you. He played in high school with him, and he said, this guy is unbelievable. He hasn't even been healthy yet. And I thought he's had great seasons at Charlotte and UConn. And he just now got his toe fixed. It's been hurting him for years. Dana J., last name redacted, says, how good or bad is Baylor's defense? I personally don't think they will be able to stop us. I mean, their head coach is a defense guy, formerly a very good one. But I can't say that I've scouted them a bunch. I kind of think of that league as being a place where you just pass the ball all the time, right? And they don't know how to stop the run very well. So my guess is you see a lot of Darrell and those guys, Jeremiah Cobb, Damari, Feaston.
Yeah, somebody mentioned Sam Jackson on a Wildcat quarterback. Where did Sam end up?
You mean in the depth chart?
Yeah, where is he?
Or what position? I mean, you think of him as like an X or a Z? Is that what you're thinking? Sam Jackson.
Yeah, Sam. I thought he left.
I was thinking about Sam.
Turner.
Sam Turner. Yeah.
Maybe that's who. Where did Sam end up?
Yeah, Sam's not here, is he?
No, he's not on there. I don't know where he ended up, actually. Oklahoma State. It looks like. He ended up at Oklahoma State.
Good for him.
I liked Sam. That was I hated that it went from coming to play with Peyton, and then it just didn't turn out. But Sam was a good dude. Yeah, I don't know about Baylor. I've talked to I've talked to some people that think in the Auburn building that they don't. I mean, they think Baylor can be got. I mean, Baylor's going to be good. Some people are tossing them in the top 25 and things like that. But if Auburn can come out there with some confidence in what they're going to execute, they can definitely win that game. I think Auburn's a better team. And I think Auburn can put up points. It's just game one, new quarterback, just some uncertainty on like how clean does Auburn look? How efficient is that offense going to be right out of the gate? Because Lord knows nothing about the offense has been efficient the last 2 years. So why in the world would they come out of the gates and be some kind of efficient, productive machine? I mean, Hugh Freeze is still leading that thing, right? So
you mean Derek Nix?
Derek Nix. So like I'm just completely believe it till I see it, because I think Hugh Freeze lets all kinds of details fall through the cracks. So I don't know. They're good enough to beat Baylor, yeah, but I have no idea how consistent Auburn's offense can be. No idea.
All right, you good there, Hoke?
Yeah, there's nothing else going on. What else? We didn't hit. We didn't miss anything, I don't think.
Basketball? Anything we can mention on basketball? I mean, they're practicing.
Nothing new. I would say.
Did you say anything about practice? Don't.
They are doing things, and there's a gym, and there's Nike balls, and
Yes.
I took a picture the other day of the practice jersey. There was a practice jersey on the table, and it had the Nike thing. I'm like, oh, that's cool. So I just took a picture of the practice jersey because it's got the Nike thing.
Yes.
Put it on social, and so a couple people were like, "What are we doing? What is Nike doing?" I was like, "This is a practice jersey." they're like, oh. And I was like, "Wait," and I'm like, "Hopefully people didn't think like that's the uniform, like gray with the ball." I'm like, "No, I'm just teasing it out there." The Nike balls, though, I guess they're still deciding what to do. For anybody that cares, they may use Nike balls. They may stick with Wilson. I don't know. But
We
no,
like
nothing really
Nike balls.
basketball.
Me and you
Huh?
like Nike balls better, don't we?
I have
Me too.
postseason. They play with Wilson, so it's like, what do you want to do on that front? No, nothing going on basketball. I think we're just waiting on Filip Jovic to arrive, which he'll be here soon. So like, there's no real concern there. We always knew he was going to miss some time, and he'll arrive, and he'll be behind a little bit on systems and stuff like that. But I think from a physical standpoint, he won't be. I mean, he's a 20-year-old, so no issues like there, weight room stuff. I think he'll be ready to go. He's just got to learn what to do and get with his teammates and stuff. That's probably the only thing basketball is we're waiting on. That and hoops giving opponent, which I haven't heard anything other than I think it's still trending towards Miami for weeks. But
Jovic, it seems like when I ask different people, they say different ways to say it. He's going to be a 4 at Auburn, and I wonder how his development, if he comes in and he's ready to ball out, right? I mean, that changes. I think if you were to play right now, if Auburn had to play a game right now, I think that Keyshawn Hall came in from UCF. I think he would be the de facto 4 right now. I think he's probably better as a 3. And then if Jovic is good, I think maybe that bumps him to 3 and then bumps Overton to 2. And then Elijah Freeman ends up coming off the bench. It might be the way that they would want it to go. I think Jovic is the guy they would like to have at power forward this season. And I think they're really happy with the way Sebastian, their freshman from Houston, with the way he's actually showed up, the fitness level he's got. And I think he's ready to compete. I don't think he's a project.
Sebastian?
Yeah, I don't think Sebastian's a project. I think he's somebody that comes in. He's not a starter, I don't think, right now because they got better players ahead of him. But I think he's a guy that gives you 10 minutes a game.
Yeah, I would agree.
I
would agree. He's got a really good natural build. I mean, he's not even I talked to somebody that I was like, he looks good, like strong. And they were like, he's getting there. Like, in other words, yeah, he looks pretty good, but it's just a lot of it kind of his natural build. Like he's got a lot of growth that he can make in the weight room in terms of strength, and he already looks pretty good. So
he's a go-getter.
Love his temperament. Temperament's good.
He fights. He will go get rebounds. He's got the attitude of a nasty power forward. Now, he doesn't necessarily have the size, like you were saying. He has it. He's just not quite there yet because he's so young. But I think he's got the temperament. Yeah,
I think it'll be interesting to see Jovic. And I was trying to go back and find the release. I can't remember if it was Jovic or I think it's Jovic. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see Philip. We'll just call him Philip. Philip and Hall and how that works because yeah, I'm with you. At this very moment, July 10th, Tahad would start at 1. Overton would start at 2. And then, Murphy's your 5. And so it would be Hall and Jovic they're both 6'8-ish. They're both like, they've got skills. They can kind of shoot. They can kind of drive. Hall is a bigger body. Like from a defensive standpoint, I would trust Keyshawn Hall against a team's power forward over Jovic, 225. Like I think Hall could if there's a little bit of physicality down low type situation. And at the same time, Keyshawn Hall on another team's 4 would be a problem for them because he's going to be he's driving and spinning and doing all kinds of stuff. So it could be, I think it kind of depends on defensively what you're asking him to do, sort of, because 5 and 4 is similar, but probably that's your 3 and 4. Because I'm with you. Bashir is not there yet. Freeman's not there yet. Neither one of those players I would predict to start right now, mainly because Bashir's missed time and he just has got to put on weight.
Yeah, he's so thin.
And Freeman to me still, I don't know. I don't know where he's at. So I think Freeman D2 coming over, I think that takes time. And so I don't know that Freeman's going to be ready to start yet. The only sort of X factor I mentioned to you was I really like Caden Magwood. Is there a world where it could go Pettiford 1, Magwood 2, Overton 3, Hall, and Murphy? That would give you your 3 power 4 guys that have tons of experience. It would give you Hod. It'd give you your 4 most experienced guys, and then it would give you Magwood at the 2. And so, you know, he could play the 2, whatever. Obviously, that's small, 1, 2, 3, small-ish. But a lot of that would depend on Magwood, his development, defense, things like that. I wouldn't bet on that right now. I'd probably bet on the thing we talked about. But I do think they think a lot of Magwood, and I could see a world where that lineup I just said plays a lot of minutes. I could see Pettiford and Magwood together, and Overton shifting to 3, and then you've got Hall and Murphy. So Magwood's the guy. Like, Sebastian's not going to start. Simon's not going to start. You know, Magwood's the one I'm kind of watching. I don't think he'll start either, but I think he's going to. I think watching him and Todd together could be there's options. And I go back to Bashir and Freeman to me are like the X factors. They are just, I think those 2 guys is where I would start if I'm talking about, is this team going to be good, really good, or great? Those 2 are going to have a lot to say about it. How quickly do they adjust to the SEC? How quickly does Bashir put on weight? Because Freeman's ceiling is super high. Bashir can just flat out score, but he needs to defend. Those 2 guys, how quickly they can sort of adjust and get their game up to par, whatever it is, develop, I think could help determine whether this team's pretty good or like they're real good, because they got problems coming off the bench too.
Got to keep Murphy healthy. I don't know. I mean, he's fine. He's fine now. I'm just saying, got to keep him healthy through the season.
Yep.
Because if he goes down, I don't like the situation at center. But that a lot of people have that problem.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Kind of with you on that.
All right, basketball. There we go. You want to wrap it up there, Justin?
Yeah. Yeah. We can roll.
Give it a good solid hour there. Had some great stuff in the chat too.
I think so. Go to the site. Caleb just put a story up kind of talking about how can Auburn get back into the top 10. Miracle? No, I'm just kidding. He just outlining some things, probably a good sort of reset. Like, how does Auburn get there? Who should they target? That's the only thing I would say. And we can end on this. Like, yes, Auburn's 73rd on recruiting. Yes. They got, what do they got? 6 commits or 7, I guess now. 7. They back up to 7.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of it too. Like, if they had 15 kids committed right now and they were 73rd, problem. There's just 7. So a portion of why they're so ranked 73rd or whatever they are is because they've got 7 kids committed. Yeah. So like, that's part of it. Like, you know, so it's not all like, go look at the 7 they have committed. Pretty good players. Like, let them get back up and let's see what they can do from here. That's part of why they're low. They're ranked lowly.
Oh, we got someone in the chat saying they got 9.
Oh no, that's a 9. I haven't. I guess maybe. And then
yeah, I didn't think about him either. Yeah, this is new to me.
So they're at 9 now, and they're sitting at.
Well, that includes the snapper. Does that count?
They're 71. I'm sorry. How dare I shortchange them? Call them 73rd. 71. Okay, so yeah, so Goon and.
I mean, Kentrell White and Goon.
Kentrell White is probably the one I'm forgetting about.
The snapper. I mean, whatever.
So give them a chance. I mean, I haven't gone here and looked at like average. You know, I don't know where their average puts them if their average looks any better. But give them a chance to sort of start racking up. We'll see what they do from here on out. But that's part of why they're ranked low for sure. But yeah, a lot to go. I guess next time we talk, well, I don't know. We'll do a show again next Tuesday. I guess Cole may be on that media. Well, no, we won't, because I'll be in Atlanta. So there will be no show.
Wow.
No noon show. No noon show Tuesday.
Yeah, we got media day. Auburn's going live on Tuesday, so.
Yeah. So we'll come back Thursday and review whatever nonsense is talked about in Atlanta.
It's talking season, bro.
Ugh. All right, let's get out of here. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Go to the site, subscribe. We'll see you next time.